YouTube. Um, I want to get this out there first and foremost that this is going to be a video dealing with a very heavy topic, subject matter, I guess you could call it, related to self-hurting and self-ending. For those of you who are healing and easily triggered, I understand. I do want to say this though, that if you clicked on this video, I can imagine that maybe you might be on the verge of doing something that is absolutely going to be regretted, and is not the right thing to do. And that's why I'm making this video, because I spent so long preaching that I was getting better, and I finally did start to get better in some ways after getting into therapy again, but that was mainly just with interpersonal things. What didn't get better, I realize now, is my ability to cope with really hard things. There is a bug in the room. Sorry. And my overall ability to handle really hard situations and occurrences. And 4 days ago, or I guess about almost 4 days ago, I made the decision that I wanted to end my life. And when I say wanted, I use that very loosely. What it really was I broke down privately, and I've had private breakdowns before, and in front of people too, and I've cried so many times throughout my life, but that night was different in the way that as I was going through it, I could feel myself losing hope. And that was the most hopeless I have ever felt. And when I followed through with my plan a few days later, and I was asked by people why I did it, I gave a pretty short answer. I revealed that I was struggling with school and keeping up with classwork and the changes that come with being a college student, and that was something that was weighing me down for sure, and it definitely was something that affected my mental health. But also, it was kind of just like so many things had been happening in my life. It kept building and building and building and piling up, and because I didn't know how to handle them and cope properly, it got to a point where I lost hope because I was so overwhelmed. And while I've struggled with my mental health for years, and I've had thoughts and have hurt myself before throughout that, those years, that night was the first time I really felt certain, and going through with it, I was just in such a hopeless state. And I can't blame it necessarily on any one thing. People can form their own opinions as to what they think, but it was just... But what I did notice sometimes, although during those few days my thinking was very not rational, and I was just so focused on, ending the pain, I wasn't thinking about what the aftermath would be, and I wasn't really thinking about even not just that, but what the reality of ending my life would be. And I'm not going to reveal exactly how I tried to do it, or kind of, but I will say that I found myself having some thoughts about wanting to call someone, or call for help, or do something, but when I kept thinking about how hopeless I felt. But thankfully, I have people who care about me, and who intervened and found me at the moment that I mean, it really just... And here's the thing. I've always thought that achieving certain things would fix me, or doing certain things would fix me. Finding love, being in college and meeting new people, or, gaining more freedom, being an adult. But the reality is, I was just avoiding the pain, and it just built up, and it overwhelmed me. And what this video is meant to be is for people who are overwhelmed right now, and for people who think that there is no light. Forgive the cliche, but no light at the end of the tunnel, or just no hope. Because while I can't tell you that, everything will get better instantly the moment you decide to keep going and to keep fighting, what I can tell you is that deciding to keep fighting and keep trying, it gives you the opportunity to get hope back, and to learn things and experience things. And while it's only been a couple of days since my thing, what I know is that I want to keep looking for hope, and I want to keep holding on to it. I don't want to let go, because I kept ignoring things that were really good. Or in those couple of days when I was planning my attempt, I had some good things going. I was able to hang out with family. I was able to do new things, try new things, new foods, but I didn't fully enjoy it, because I just really believed that I was not meant to have happiness, or good things in my life for very long. And what I know now is that I don't want to think that way anymore. I know that there's going to be so much more pain and, that I can't predict or really be ready for, but there's also so much good, so much, so many positive experiences and opportunities that I can't predict. And as someone who has been such a control freak in a way about life, I realized that was part of the problem. I thought that not having everything right or figured out was a problem, but in reality, I made a video, I think it was my second video, talking about timelines and how we have so much pressure on us and how we should all, just focus on going at our own pace. And while I meant it, and I thought I was doing it, it's easier to say things than practice them sometimes. And but what I know is that you have to let go of that need to control everything. You have to let go of caring so much about others' opinions that it's literally bringing you down. You have to let go of the idea that just because you're not at a certain point means that you're a failure. And you have to let go of the idea that it's too late to start anything new or to do things that you've wanted to do. Ending your life, it's not the solution that you think it is. I understand what it's like to be in that headspace. And I think a lot of people who have never been there, they don't get how someone could want to do that. They think that, but what you're feeling is valid. Your pain, your experiences, but hurting yourself and taking the action beyond that, it's not what you think it is. So it's really, I'd be lying if I said that I feel perfectly fine now, or that I have everything figured out after almost losing my life, my place on this earth. But while I can't say that, I can say that after spending a long time thinking about it and feeling like it was at times the only option or the best option, or, it's not. maybe you don't have a lot of people in your life. Maybe you don't have a strong support system, or, you know, but if you keep going, you'll find it. Maybe you're dealing with financial problems or family problems. Maybe you have a history of mental health issues like I do. Maybe, you know, relationship dynamics or problems. Whatever it may be, what you're feeling about that and what you're experiencing, you're not alone. And if you make the decision, which is really actually the best decision, to keep living and to keep fighting, you'll realize that you're not the only one. And just because you're in the dark right now does not mean that the light will never come back. And maybe you're like me, where you've had the thoughts of, oh, well, you know, even if it does come back, it probably won't stay. But maybe instead of assuming the worst, we just let it happen. Maybe we just we stop letting our past experiences and our trauma dictate what our future is going to look like. And as I've said before in plenty of my videos now, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a master in anything, but I feel very strongly about this, and I want to use my experience, my story, to prevent you from doing something that will only cause so much more pain and trauma. I'm still here. And if I could go back and undo what I did, I would, but I can't. So I'm going to do everything I can to keep people from having to say that. Maybe I can't. Maybe I don't have a lot of control, but if I can help you to not have to have that regret, that'll be enough. So thank you for watching this video. Like I said, heavy topic, sorry. And I hope that my other videos still have an impact. And, you know, like I said, I really did mean what I said in them. And I did learn from the things I talked about in them. But there was so much hiding under the surface that I didn't even let myself process. But I'm here now. And I'm doing it. I'm processing it. And you should too. even if it hurts, even if it takes a while. You'll find that you are so much more than the pain that you've faced, the traumas you've endured, the circumstances that you were put in. And I don't hold any hate towards people in my life. I don't have a good relationship with my parents, but I have made it I'm at peace now with knowing that I can't control them. I can only control how I go forward. But, yeah. I get to learn from my mistakes. I get to keep growing as a person and trying to just become someone who, instead of thinking that I have to achieve perfection, just every day being able to think about how I'm not what I used to be. And it actually be true. So yeah, I was trying to say goodbye to this video and I got on another, but yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope that it resonates, and I hope that instead of doing whatever your mind tried to convince you of, I hope that you can let this sit. Maybe you didn't pay attention to everything, but I really hope that the main message came across, and I hope that can be something for you. If you don't have anything else right now, just let that sit and don't give up hope.